Joining us now, former Republican Congressman from Florida, David Jolly, and former Biden 2020 senior campaign advisor, Alencia Johnson. So nice to have both of you here. So, Congressman, we're awaiting a decision on Donald Trump's gag order that he claims has kept him from defending himself in the court of public opinion. How could this decision affect how he campaigns going forward, or will it?
Well, he could be facing pretrial detention, though I agree with most of the attorneys that probably not at this hearing, but it is hard to see a world in which his question of pretrial detention does not grow more and more pregnant over the coming months because Donald Trump can't compare himself. And I think, how does it affect the campaign trail in the election? Today's a perfect example, Anna. You have Donald Trump in a courtroom fighting for his personal freedom, a moment that he himself created, while Joe Biden is in a swing state talking to voters about an issue that they continue to show motivates them to come out and vote for Democrats.
I will say that Trump's lawyer and the prosecution have gone back and forth with this judge, but the prosecution saying at this point, we're not asking for detention. They want a fine, although they say they believe Trump's lawyers are trying to sort of bait the judge or suggest that they're asking for detention. They say we're not there just yet. Alencia, while Trump is dealing with all this in court today, President Biden is traveling to Florida, as Congressman Jolly pointed out there. He's delivering remarks ahead of the state's restrictive abortion ban going into effect in just a couple of days. What do you make of how the Biden campaign is taking advantage of this courtroom campaign trail split screen?
Listen, they are giving us the exact contrast that I think is great for the American people. You see one former president who is sitting in a courtroom and another current president who is running for re-election, fighting for our fundamental freedoms. He is on the campaign trail talking about abortion rights, which we know is a great issue for Democrats, even in very red or conservative states, including Florida, where potentially abortion will be directly on the ballot in addition to candidates come November. And so it's very powerful and an opportune time for President Biden and Vice President Harris and the campaign surrogates and everyone who supports them to continue to talk about what it is that they are voting for and letting the contrast of Donald Trump sitting in the courtroom speak for itself.
Congressman, while President Biden personally isn't talking about the trial, his campaign has jumped on the reporting that Trump appeared to have his eyes closed at times during these proceedings. The Biden campaign with a series of posts, some with the hashtag Sleepy Dawn. Of course, we all remember the Sleepy Joe monikers. So has the Biden campaign decided to play at Trump's level here? And what are the potential pitfalls of that?
Well, I think part of wrestling with Donald Trump is he creates false narratives and he creates theater. And in Joe Biden, you see a president who is overseeing an economy, an alliance of the West, defending freedom on the world stage, and then Donald Trump, again, sitting in a courtroom. But if you're on Fox News or listening to Donald Trump, it's the exact opposite. The world's upside down. So campaigns have to engage in a bit of shattering the paradigm, shattering the narrative that Donald Trump is sending out there. I think Joe Biden himself is handling it exactly right. You're above it all. You're the sitting president of the United States fighting for the American people while Donald Trump's fighting for himself. Let the campaign teams engage in some of the other hijinks.
Alencia, do you agree?
I absolutely agree. Again, President Biden has so much that he needs to communicate. There are so many people who still don't fully quite understand all that the Biden administration has done for them. So he's using this time to do that. And listen, let the campaign spokespeople as well as surrogates do the fighting for him.
All right. Thank you both so much, former Congressman David Jolly and Alencia Johnson.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.